Welcome to episode 7 of season 3 of Matire Gemi, a bi-weekly podcast where we help you learn the Gikoyo culture, history, and heritage in English and in a fun, light-hearted way. My name is Jerry Diho. I'm your anchor, Nademojiro wa Barea Kehara. And as usual, I'm joined by Wayaki Wagishaga and Kingori Wakani. Wow. Today's story will blow your mind. Today's story brings in the role of prophecy, the role of God in guiding and helping end the reign of colonialism. Today's story talks about bravery. It brings in obedience, faith, trust, and esoteric wisdom. Today, we feature a hero who's often not talked about. Today, we are talking about Mûrathi Kairetu, the girl prophet. If you don't know who that is, lean in because your mind will be blown. All right, so King Ori. Who are we talking about today? And why is this such a big deal?
All right. Thank you very much, Jerry. Oyo neke ngori wa kanyi, mobo wa barea marigo. Wa gethaku kia maitu nyabura. I'm happy to be here today because we're going to be talking about an amazing young lady. Such a unique story because we're seeing a great Mûrathi.
What is Mûrathi?
A prophet, a seer, clairvoyant, whatever you want to call it. And she comes right at the time when she was needed and helps us to navigate a brutal colonial period. She's known as Mûrathi Kairetu. I like to call her Nyararia Rironi.
So Mûrathi Kairetu means prophet girl?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
All right. Wayaki.
Yes.
Introduce yourself and lead us on this journey.
Okay, yeah. So, jitagwa Wayaki Wagishaga, mushara wa barea muturi, hamari kama wathani dewa mwagi. And I'm happy to be here to tell this important story which isn't told a lot. Because not a lot is known about this girl except for members of the KC or members of the War Council who actually saw her and heard what she had to say.
Ooh, so KCA, didn't we talk about that in the previous episode where Harry Thuku may have formed it?
We did, yes. We did.
I love how all these stories of our heroes are starting to connect.
They interconnect, yeah. You can actually tell their interconnections through decades and some even through centuries.
I love it. So who is Mûrathi Kairetu? Where does her journey begin?
Her journey begins, so it's not known who her parents are or where she hailed from, but she appears in the mid-40s, in the 1940s, and this is after the death of Wayaki, the annexation of a lot of the White Highlands, right? The Kikuyu land. And so she appears, at this time, there's a lot of associations forming, like the association that was formed by Harry Thuku, Young Kikuyu's Association, East Africa Association. You're having a lot of organization of groups that are trying to resist or trying to lobby for the rights of Africans. Trying to establish partnerships with different organizations just to be able to speak on the rights of Africans.
Yeah.
As you know, our people had been marginalized, moved away from their lands. All these taxes, all these ordinances that we've talked about before had been established. And so we were fighting a losing battle. And so you have these individuals like Harry Thuku, Kenyatta and them coming to form these organizations to resist the oppression of the colonialists, of the imperialists, right? So in one of the councils, this girl appears and says, "Hey, I want to come in and speak to you guys." And of course, the man is, a grown man having a baraza meeting and talking about serious issues. And they were sort of shocked and to see this little girl.
Yeah.
And so this girl comes in and says, "Hey, I have a message from God. And, I'm a little girl and I'm like your daughter. So, but I do want to inform you of things that are going to come." And so she talks about various things and tells them, "Hey, I'll be coming to speak to you guys every so often with messages from God. And if you do what God wants you guys to do, or what he says you should do, you are going to go through great difficulties, but you will triumph over evil."
Wow.
Yeah, so she would, on occasion, come in to advise them and speak to them. Yeah, and so it became a habit for her to come and speak to the council, the KCA, when they were having their meetings. And this happened around the Kabete, Rironi area. All these people coming from even Nyeri, Muranga would come and meet. And Limuru and Tigoni area was is a very strategic location where they would do their meetings.
So they recognized and started welcoming her. They recognized an essence in her
They
that
did.
her message resonated.
Absolutely. I think if you even that first encounter, I think it was 1947. She comes in and literally just makes some declarations. She's saying it's going to be difficult, but you're going to make it happen. You're going to win.
Right.
And first of all, I want to give quite a bit of credit to these elders. And just like Wayaki said, these were elders that had gathered from all over Kikuyu land.
Right.
And for them to even just say, "Okay, let's listen to what this young girl has to say," tells you that something was in the air.
Yeah.
Right? And they just said, "Let's listen." And they were actually asking her questions.
Right. Because that's interesting. Imagine if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
And how old was she?
I don't
About
know, maybe 12. Who knows?
yeah,
13
like a
years
12-year-old
old.
comes
Yeah,
to your
yeah.
mkutanos,
Right,
right?
right.
And you and you listen, you query, and you keep allowing her.
And she even
That's
makes
powerful.
it in. She even makes
Right,
it into that
right.
meeting, right?
Yeah.
Which probably was a clandestine operation or something,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But they start even asking her like leading questions. So she says, "You're going to win." She asked them, well, they would ask, "Where are we going to get weapons?"
Wow.
They would ask those kinds
How are
of
we gonna
questions. How are we going to win? And she kept saying, "No, Ngai will provide these things that you're talking about." And she kept, encouraging them. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, King Ori. So one interesting prophecy that she prophesied was that there will be, or at least the most famous prophecy that she did say was the fact that there'd be two lizards. One would represent the Africans and one would represent the colonialists.
Okay.
And this lizard that represented the Africans would swallow whole the lizard that represented the colonialists.
Oh.
And so it was very difficult to understand what does that mean in a sense that, how are we going to know this lizard is for the colonialists? How are we going to know this lizard is for us? But it so happened that there were two visitors coming from Britain, and one of them was an emissary of the colonial administration, and basically, for the imperialists, what they wanted to do is they would do data collection, right? They would go into their colonies, and from a moral perspective, try and collect information from their subjects. Like, how is your life going? But really, it was just lip service. They were trying to show that they were caring and concerning about their colonial subjects, but really wouldn't do much. Their main purpose was imperialism, oppression, and extracting resources, right? So they sent one guy. I don't really remember his name. I think his name was Dudgel. And this story is actually written in a book called Ûrathi Kairetu by Kenothia Mogeya. And this guy was coming to different colonies, Uganda, Kenya, and so on, and traveling around, collecting letters from the locals, and to then go back and report in England, right? And then there was also another tourist who was coming on his own accord to visit and traveled with this guy. I think his name was Fena Blockway. So these two guys come and travel, and they're Wazungu. They're getting good treatment, and they travel all around Kikuyu land and actually the different colonies. And it so happened that they were going to board a flight in Uganda and go back to the United Kingdom. And the first guy, whose name was Dudgel, he had collected all this information. He had a bunch of letters in his suitcase. This suitcase was left behind. His journals, his notebooks, of all the information that he had collected was left behind. And then the other guy, Fena Blockway, who, if you've read 19th century, 20th century stories of explorers, they would keep a journal. They would collect information. They would do interviews. So he kept a detailed journal of everything that he had, every person that he came across, and he documented it religiously, right? So when they went back and when they got to the United Kingdom, Dudgel wasn't able to give a report because all his stuff had been left.
Yes.
So
Right?
Dudgel was like commissioned to
He was commissioned.
go bring specific information.
Yes.
But what's the other gentleman's name?
Fena Blockway.
Blockway is kind of like what? Like freelancing?
He's freelancing.
He's collecting real
Yes.
on the ground info.
Information. But he was a tourist, so to speak, right? So they get back, and of course, Dudgel cannot give a report of what he collected. And Dudgel was commissioned to go and do this report, right? And being a colonial administration official, it looked like he wasn't going to be honest. And
There's a lens
that's
being required.
Yes. There's a way to be able to report and not make it look like the colonial subjects are suffering.
Right.
So Fena Blockway was able to give an honest account of what the Africans were going through,
Wow.
of their plight, their distress. And he was able to give an accurate account of what the colonial government was doing in Africa.
Wow.
And so when that happened and that information came back to the KCA, they agreed that her prophecy, which had been prophesied before, had come true, that this lizard would, the lizard representing the Africans would swallow
Yeah.
the lizard that was representing the colonial administration.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of her prophecies. There's another prophecy as well. And what she would do is she would give instructions on very specific instructions, like on this day, at this time, you should do this. And if you don't do this as Ngai is instructing you, you will have a more difficult time. Eventually you will triumph, but you want to do these things that I am telling you to do, that I have been told to tell you guys, right? And you will be successful, or the progress and the fight, the resistance will continue.
Yeah.
So there was one time she mentioned that, so in the 1940s, they were building more infrastructure around Central Province, and building the train, the roads. And so in Limuru area, there's actually a tunnel that the train goes through, which was being dug so that the train could pass through it. It actually has today. It's called the Buxton Tunnel. So she mentioned that, it was, and you would be fascinated that how does she know all these things that are happening? So she mentioned that at one point in the near future, the governor, the colonial governor, would come and open it with ceremony, right? So it's like today when you have a bridge, the cutting of the ribbon.
Yep.
So she tells the KCA like, hey guys, the governor is coming on such and such a day, and what you guys have to do is you have to inaugurate this tunnel yourself before he does it.
Oh, okay.
And so if the guy does it before you guys, it's going to be a problem. You guys are going to face more difficulty. And so what you have to do is you have to come before, and it was a clandestine operation because, at that time there was agitation. You had to carry the kipande like we spoke about.
And there were guards everywhere.
Guards everywhere and so on. And they even asked her, like, how are we going to, what if we are arrested when we're going to basically pass through?
Yeah.
Basically, she told them, you guys have to be the ones to pass through
That bridge fast.
this tunnel
tunnel.
before the governor passes through.
Okay.
And you have to find a way to do it. But God will protect you. He'll guide you. He'll be your guide. But do it before the governor does it. And if you don't, it's going to be a problem. You really have to do it. And they did it. And so she would come and give them these kinds of instructions, where to find weapons and so on. Not a lot is talked about this girl.
Right.
But she played a big part in...
So me, I am like, what happened with the bridge out the tunnel? Did they go through?
Are you waiting for the finale? No, they were actually able to do that. They were able to make it before the governor made through to inaugurate the tunnel. And so she's written about because she played an important role in the 40s and right before the time of emergency, 1951-52, she played an important role in helping and giving spiritual guidance to these council, or the KCA, and the groups that were agitating for resistance and the beginning of the Mau Mau and so on.
Yeah.
She played an important spiritual role in that time.
Okay, so can we go back to the tunnel? So they were like, it's going to be hard to go through that tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, do we know how they did that?
Go ahead.
There's this situation I remember from that story where, so I think literally the governor was going to kind of use a mattock or whatever you call it, pickaxe.
A pickaxe, yeah.
And was going to do make the last blow and be the first one to see through the
tunnel. I see. So it was sealed.
So it's like they've set it up for him perfectly.
Yeah.
He just comes and knocks it down once.
Photo that
exactly, and he goes through the other side, and everybody makofi, right? So, and there were guards, and what happened with these the regiment that was sent, these youth that were sent there, they camped near and were watching the movement of the guards that were in that area. And there's something about the fact that the governor was in the area, had come now close to Rironi in that particular area of Limuru. There was kind of like a withdrawal of guards to kind of go and shughulikia mkubwa. And it was just a small window.
Yeah.
Right? And that they were like, hiya. Like, even them, they were shocked. They were like,
you got a chance.
Yeah, this is it. And they went and they blew right through it and they crossed and they went back home. And it's like occupation.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. There's obedience. You've been told to do it, you've done it.
Yeah.
And in the spirit, it's your tunnel.
Yeah.
It's your railway.
Right.
You're claiming, you're occupying.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's kind of how I see their response to these kind of things.
Yeah.
They were being told to do. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So her story is, thank you, King Ray. Her story is very interesting because not a lot is known about her. And she disappeared at some point. We don't know if she's still alive today or not. because at that age she still could be
Yeah.
alive. And so I've been trying to do more research on her story to be able to tell the story effectively.
What a story,
Yeah.
right?
I think you missed one.
Did
very
I?
important one.
Oh,
Prophecy.
the prophecy of the Maguta.
The Maguta.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now I want to know.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell it, Kingori? Or
No, go
should I
ahead.
tell it? Okay,
It
yeah.
came
So-
by it could yet, eh?
So she also gave instructions about. At one time was they would slaughter a dege, which is a he goat, and be able to skim the fat, and told them, hey, this fat has to be given to everyone in Kikuyu land.
What?
So they were shocked. They're like, it's just one goat. How
Right.
How are we going to skim the fat from one goat?
To be fed to 1 million.
Yes, and that time our population was like 1 million and so on. And so they, so she gave them detailed instructions on how to skim the fat, put it in small containers, and then send instructions to the different factions of the organizations that were agitating for resistance, that they would also, in their own sublocations or divisions or where they were, would slaughter a goat and skim the fat and mix the fat with the original goat that had been slaughtered, to mix the fat from the original goat with the goat that they had slaughtered in the different locations. And once that happened, the fat would become one. And so basically, what she was, to me, the symbolism of this is she connected the entire Kikuyu tribe with one goat. The way they became one thing from the sacrifice and the slaughter of one goat, the fat spread and was consumed by everyone in our
It
community.
united us as
United
one.
us, yeah. And that's why when we eat together, we become one thing, so to speak. So when you dine with somebody and you eat the same food, it brings you closer together. And that's what she, or that's what God had told her to tell these individuals, this council.
Yeah. The logistics of making that happen were not easy. I mean, we're talking about, because in her prophecy, what I really like about this young lady is that she wasn't afraid of how ridiculous what she was saying may have initially sounded.
Right. Which is probably why it went through a young girl, a child, because an adult would be like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah. And be like, they dismiss it. Those are just my wild thoughts.
Right. Because even her initial delivery was very simple. She was like, Guy has told me that you guys should go find a certain type of a ram, and that it should be eaten by all people in the country.
Right.
And then they're like, no, wait.
How are we going to take one goat and everybody eats that one goat?
And so in the brainstorming, this is what would come out, and they would like, no, we can do this, and this is the way. The solution was exactly as Oyaki described.
Yeah,
and
using the
actually,
fat.
there's even stories that not only were Kikuyus the ones eating this fat, but it was even being given to the houseboys of the Wazungu.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, I
And
forgot
that fat was being mixed in their food without them knowing. So it was everyone was to eat this.
Wow.
Yeah, every single human being was to eat this.
Wow.
There's even another story about some, I remember which chief it was, who was now going to curse the resistance movement that was now coming up. And he said he was going to do this big kweheta,
Ceremony, some
with
oathing ceremony.
and slaughter a goat by a river, and was going to use that as a way to curse
The resistance.
the resistance.
Yeah.
And it was such a big deal for the elders because they understood that particular ceremony that she was talking about. And it was kweheta, a big oath that the chief was going to take. And if you do that kind of a thing, it used to be that there's no going back. You're going to be brutal towards the resistance movement, and they were told to do it before him.
Yeah. Okay. To cancel. So it proceeds.
So they went and did it again, and then that kind of neutralized that particular chief.
Yeah.
And that chief kind of didn't end very well.
Wow.
Following that session that they did. Yeah. So there were a few, and I think the stories probably are even more.
There are more,
about how, I see obedience. I see so much obedience in this story on her part to just deliver this message.
Right.
And on the part of the elders to, first of all, just be able to take this instruction from a young lady and then implement it to the letter.
Right.
And there was instant results. This story has instant results.
Wow.
It's not at 20 years later.
Right.
In a week, you're seeing what was told to you a week before.
Yeah. Faith, belief, trust.
Yes.
And
right.
Also, just to bring this full circle, we talked about, Kingori talked about Nyoni ya Monyaka. So this man actually realized that this, they didn't dismiss the little girl because she could have been their Nyoni ya Monyaka. She could have been their emissary from God.
Yeah.
And they understood that God can use anyone as an Ngai can use anyone as an instrument to bring you a message.
What a beautiful story, right? What a powerful story, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I wish we knew more about her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like what happened after
Right.
that. 'Cause we don't know.
We don't
Right.
know.
But
What
at
was
least
her real name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We just know that she's the prophet girl, the girl prophet.
Exactly.
And she's a bit of her story is written in the book by Kairetu, the one that's called The Decline of Spiritual Authority in Gikuyu Traditional Religion by Dr. Peter Kairetu.
Yeah.
That's a really good book that doesn't give much information. It actually gets the information from Kenothia Wamogea's book, Ûrathi wa Cege wa Kîbirû. And so those two books give these stories in detail. Of course, the one by Ûrathi wa Cege wa Kîbirû is in Kikuyu, so we'd suggest you learn how to read in Kikuyu to be able to get the full gist of this story.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow, Wayaki, thank you for sharing this powerful story and honoring Mûrathi Kairetu. So we can see Mûrathi Kairetu, so we can see that the resistance was not just, right, the people who were directly agitating. There were so many contributors, right, to actually ending colonialism in Kenya. What a powerful story, right? So maybe I should ask the question, who is the next hero that we will highlight?
This is going to be the hero of heroes.
Hey.
The hero of heroes, without which we would not be here today in terms of thinking about the resistance movement. Who led the resistance movement? Who took the steps? Who had the intelligence? Who had the integrity? Who had the willpower to bring the resistance movement to a head and be able to resist the colonial oppression? None other than
Field Marshal Dedan Kimathi wa Ashuri, General of the Land and Freedom Army of the Republic of Kenya. Let's all be upstanding.
I can't wait.
Yes.
See you all. Make sure you listen to the end and see you all on the next episode.